All right, let's dive into one of the best-selling books of all time, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, this thing was first published way back in 1937, so you have to ask, what makes it so timeless? Well, it's because it's built on this really startling discovery about what actually drives success in life. Just look at that number. 85%. Researchers at the Carnegie Institute of Technology, they wanted to figure out what really separated the high achievers from everybody else. And what they found is just as true today as it was back then. A staggering 85% of your success, it's not what you probably think it is. That's right. So what does that mean? It means only about 15% of your financial success comes from what you know, your technical skills. The other 85%, that's all about what Carnegie called human engineering. Basically, it's your people skills, your personality, your ability to lead, and just connect with other human beings. John D. Rockefeller himself once said he'd pay more for that one ability than for any other under the sun. Wow. And this, right here, creates what we can call the 85% problem. See, most of us spend all our time trying to get better at the technical stuff, right? But we completely ignore the single biggest piece of the puzzle. Dale Carnegie saw this gap. He created this book to be like a laboratory of human relationships. He studied the greats, people like Lincoln and Roosevelt, and boiled down their secrets into a guide that anyone can use. Okay, so let's get into the first of the 3 big secrets for handling people. Now, I gotta warn you, this one might be the hardest of them all. Why? Because it goes completely against our natural instincts. The secret is simply this: don't criticize. This quote, this is absolutely chilling when you find out who said it. This wasn't some poet or a do-gooder. No, these words were written by Two Gun Crowley. He was a notorious cop killer, and he wrote this while police were literally firing bullets into his apartment. Think about that. Even a cold-blooded killer saw himself as a kind, misunderstood person. And that's the whole point. Carnegie says 99 times out of 100, people do not blame themselves for anything, no matter how wrong they might be. And that is exactly why criticism just doesn't work. It's totally futile. It doesn't create any real lasting change. All it does is put people on the defensive, it hurts their pride, and it just breeds resentment. I love this analogy Carnegie uses. He says, criticisms are like homing pigeons. They always return home. You put that negativity out there, and it's gonna come right back at you. Just look at the story of Abraham Lincoln, right? One of the greatest leaders ever. But as a young man, he loved to publicly rip into his opponents. It got so bad that he wrote this one insulting letter that nearly got him into a sword duel, to the death. That experience, as you can imagine, completely shook him, and he learned a massive lesson. From that day forward, he basically never criticized anyone again. There's that famous story where he wrote this furious letter to a general after Gettysburg, but he never sent it. He knew it would do more harm than good. So there you have it. Principle number 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. It's so simple, but so profound. Carnegie puts it perfectly. Any fool can criticize, and, most fools do. But it takes real character, real self-control to try and understand and to forgive. All right, on to the second secret. This is where it really starts to build. So if we stop all the criticizing, what are we supposed to do instead? Well, the answer is all about fulfilling one of the deepest, most powerful needs that every single human has. The famous psychologist William James put his finger right on it. He didn't call it a wish or a desire. He called it a craving. The craving to be appreciated. Think about that word. It's like this gnawing, constant hunger that we all have. And Carnegie says if you can be the person who honestly satisfies that hunger in others, you'll pretty much have them in the palm of your hand. But, and this is a huge, huge but, there is a massive difference between genuine appreciation and simple flattery. They are polar opposites. Look, appreciation is sincere. It comes from the heart. It's unselfish. Flattery, that's just cheap praise. It's insincere, it's selfish, and trust me, people can spot it a mile away. The power of real, honest appreciation is just off the charts. Take Charles Schwab. He was one of the very first guys in America to earn $1 million a year salary. $1 million back then. Was it because he was some kind of steel genius? Nope. He said himself that he was paid that massive salary for one reason, his ability to deal with people. And what was his secret? He said, "I am anxious to praise, but loath to find fault." He was, as he put it, hearty in my approbation and lavish in my praise. And that brings us to our second principle. It's not just about giving appreciation. It's about giving honest and sincere appreciation. So forget the cheap flattery. Really try to see the good things in people around you and then just tell them. You have no idea how much people will cherish those words, maybe for their entire life. Okay, time for the third and final secret. And honestly, this one is the master key. This is the one that really gets people to take action. It's all about making one simple but profound shift in your thinking. You stop focusing on what you want, and you start focusing on what they want. Carnegie has this perfect little analogy for this. He says, look, you might personally love strawberries and cream, but when you go fishing, you don't put strawberries and cream on the hook, right? Of course not. You use worms because that's what the fish wants. So the big question is, why on earth don't we use that same simple logic when we're dealing with people? Here's a great real-world example from Carnegie's own life. He was renting this big ballroom, and the hotel manager suddenly decided to triple the rent. Instead of storming in there and complaining about what he wanted, he did something brilliant. He made a list of all the advantages and disadvantages for the hotel manager. He showed the manager what he would be losing, and the results? The rent increase got slashed from a whopping 300% all the way down to just 50%. It worked because he made it all about the other guy's interests. And it wasn't just Carnegie. Henry Ford was on the exact same page. He said, if there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view. It seems so obvious, right? But here's the crazy part, Carnegie points out. About 90% of us ignore the simple truth 90% of the time. And that is the heart of the third principle. Arouse in the other person an eager want. So from now on, before you try to get someone to do something, just stop. Take a second and ask yourself, how can I make this person actually want to do this? Master that, and Carnegie promises you will have the whole world on your side. So when you take these 3 secrets and you put them all together, you start to see something really powerful. These aren't just a handful of clever tricks or tactics. No, this is a complete fundamental shift in how you approach every single interaction you have with another person. Let's just recap them real quick. 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. That's taking out the negative. 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. That's adding in the positive. And 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. That's aligning your goals with theirs. You see, it's a complete holistic framework for building better relationships. But here's the most important takeaway of all. Just listening to this or reading the book, that's not enough. Not even close. This is all about forming new habits. It's about practice. As Carnegie himself said, when you really commit to these ideas, you're doing more than learning a skill. You are attempting a new way of life. So there you have it, the core secrets to human relations. But remember, this isn't just information. It's a call to action. And that really just leaves one final question for you to think about. Who are you going to practice this with first? Who in your life, maybe at work, maybe at home, could use a little less criticism and a little more sincere appreciation?